A scream cuts through the icy wind of the Mongolian steppe. A boy, bound in ropes, watches as his father collapses in the dust, betrayed by allies, consumed by rival clans. His fists clench, his breath sharp with rage, but his body is too small, too fragile to fight back. The world tells him he is weak. Yet deep inside, something monstrous begins to awaken. The boy's name is Temujin. History will remember him by another name, Genghis Khan. The steppes of Mongolia were no place for the gentle. A land of wolves and endless horizons, where men survived not with kindness, but with steel. To live was to fight. To eat was to kill. For Temujin, survival came at a cost too great for most to bear. His father's death left his family abandoned, cast out by their tribe. Hunger became his first enemy, colder than the winds, sharper than any blade. He learned to steal fish from rivers, to eat roots torn from frozen soil, to trap mice in the dirt. Every bite tasted of humiliation. Every shadow whispered of enemies. At night, the boy stared into the fire, too weak to lift a sword, too young to command men. Yet in the depths of his eyes burned a vow. The world had taken everything from him: father, tribe, dignity. Someday he would take it back. Someday he would make the world kneel. But on the steppe, loyalty was fragile, and betrayal waited at every turn. As he grew, Temujin learned that survival meant alliances, and alliances meant risk. He swore brotherhood with Jamuka, a boy whose laughter once echoed with his beneath the endless stars. They spoke of uniting the clans, of breaking the cycle of betrayal. Two young dreamers, bound in blood. Yet power has a way of poisoning even the purest bonds. Years later, when the time for leadership came, Jamuka betrayed him. Brother turned against brother, oath shattered by ambition. Jamuka raised an army twice the size of Temujin's. The clash shook the steppe. Arrows darkened the sky. Swords rang with the cries of kin killing kin. The ground drank deeply of blood. Temujin's men fell, his dream shattered. He fled, not as a Khan, not as a conqueror, but as prey once more. But defeat did not break him. It sharpened him. He had seen loyalty burn, friendship dissolve, family abandoned. Now he understood, brotherhood alone could not build an empire. To rule, he would need something stronger. He would need fear. The boy became a man. The man became a wolf. Temujin rose again, this time not with promises of friendship, but with a vision that would bend the steppe to his will. He offered his warriors something no Khan before had given: merit. A slave could command if he proved his worth. A warrior's birth mattered less than his skill. Those who followed him found reward. Those who opposed him found death. And so, Temujin became Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The steppe had never seen such a force. His army moved like a storm. Swift horsemen carried messages across impossible distances. Archers struck with deadly precision, loosing arrows and volleys while riding at full gallop. Scouts spread like shadows, feeding him knowledge of every enemy's weakness. And when his fury fell upon a city, mercy was rare. The first to feel his wrath were the kingdoms of northern China. Walled cities, fortified for centuries, crumbled under Mongol thunder. Resistance was met with annihilation. Those who surrendered lived. Those who defied him vanished. Smoke rose in columns across the horizon, black scars against the sky. The Great Wall itself, once thought unbreakable, became meaningless against the ferocity of Mongol steel. Then came Central Asia. Samarkand, jewel of the Silk Road. Bokhara, city of mosques and scholars. Their beauty did not save them. When Genghis Khan entered Bokhara, he is said to have stood in the Grand Mosque and declared, "I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." And then fire. Entire populations vanished. Rivers clogged with corpses. Survivors carried stories of horror so vast that other cities surrendered without a fight. Fear itself had become his most lethal weapon. And yet, Genghis Khan was not only a destroyer. Beneath the rivers of blood ran a current of order. He established laws, known as the Yasa, to bind his empire together. He opened the Silk Roads, protecting trade and communication across vast lands. From the Pacific to the Caspian, merchants traveled more safely under his rule than in the kingdoms that came before. Knowledge flowed, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, carried by the very empire that had been born in fire. But power comes with ghosts. Genghis Khan, the man who bent half the world to his will, still carried the wounds of the boy Temujin. He remembered the hunger, the betrayal, the faces of those who abandoned him. He trusted few, punished betrayal with merciless cruelty, and demanded absolute loyalty. His wife Borte, stolen by raiders and rescued at great cost, remained his anchor. But even she could not free him from the shadows of his past. His sons grew restless. His generals eyed power. The seeds of future conflict were sown even as the empire reached its height. At night, in his tent, the great Khan stared into the flames. Did he see the faces of Jamuka and his father? Did he still hear the cries of starving children in the wind? Or had he become something else entirely? No longer man, but legend devouring the world? In 1227, Genghis Khan's story came to its end. His death was shrouded in mystery. Some say he fell from his horse. Others claim he was wounded in battle or struck down by betrayal. What is certain is that his grave was hidden, erased from sight, swallowed by the steppe. To this day, no one knows where the great Khan rests. The land that gave birth to him also devoured him, as if the earth itself sought to hide its most terrible son. Yet his shadow did not fade. His descendants carved kingdoms from his legacy. His blood ran in emperors, khans, and conquerors. His empire reshaped continents, forced civilizations into contact, altered trade, religion, and politics forever. Some call him a butcher. Others, a genius of statecraft. To his enemies, he was a nightmare. To his people, he was chosen by the heavens. Perhaps that is the greatest truth of Genghis Khan. A starving boy who forged himself into a storm. A wolf who rose from chains to conquer the world. A man whose name still echoes across centuries, carried by the wind of the steppes. Empires rise, empires fall, but legends endure, and among them all, none burn brighter or darker than the horse lord who ruled with fire and blood. His name was Genghis Khan, and the world would never be the same. Soon on MythicMarvel, Alexander the Great, the boy king who set out to conquer the world. Get ready for history like never before.